speaker. Please remember, we need people to come up here and help the books after we're done. Dan, do you mind if you say it? Did you say what he doesn't? He doesn't. He doesn't. All right, stand here. Okay. Everyone knows Sammy. Everyone knows Sammy. Are you going to go over that way? Because we're videoing this, and he liked that corner.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Are you okay with that?
I was advised this would be the corner, so. Well, welcome everybody. Like George, I have an agenda as well too. I don't know if I'm going to stick to it, but I at least have bullet points that I can go about within everything. And I didn't have $1 to give because I knew I was going to be speaking anyways too. But what I'm thankful for in the Happy Bucks department is all of you being here. So thank you all for being here. And you know, I thought about this for the last couple of days, and more specifically this morning. A lot of you know me from having this in my hand, actually having like a SM58 speaker. That's the manufacturing number for a microphone for singing and entertaining folks doing what I'm comfortable with doing. And like all of those gigs, I'm actually really nervous right now speaking, truthfully. Like every one of my shows I've done ever since 22 years ago when I was 13, it's like, ugh, a little bit of jitter, seriously. And a little quick side note before I begin on the bullet points is the largest crowd I actually performed was 9 years ago now already in Stratford, Connecticut at a festival called Blues on the Beach. Approximately almost 10,000 people across a 2-mile radius. And I felt like my heart was about to jump out of my chest. But then it was a Grateful Dead song I first played, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking around and the band's having a good time. I'm like, the butterflies went away. So that's the power of music and what I do in entertaining people that calms me after a while. It's like, okay, just slow it down, slow the tempo down, and relax. But thank you all for being here today. Thank you to Johnny's Kitchen, the Ludlow Rotary Club, Kevin for organizing this. Like I said, I don't normally public speak, but here we are. And 35 years in this body and on this planet, life with Sammy. I'll try to keep it as short as I humanly can, because I know that Kevin's on a tight time crunch as well too. But anyways, little history about me. Some of you may or may not know. I am not a Vermonter, born and raised. I am from Fairfield County, Connecticut. I lived in Naugatuck, which is near Waterbury, for 14 years, and Shelton for 15 years. So right up until I turned 29, that is when I moved up here to Vermont. I have been playing instruments pretty much since I was like 5 years old. Started with the piano. I hated sight reading, still do to this day. It is what it is, even with a music degree. But my mom and dad bought me a Sega Genesis system, so that kind of stirred my love for piano for quite a while. I got an electric guitar when I was 10 years old, and then I didn't start taking lessons until I was 13. And in one way or another, volunteer, part-time or full-time, I've been doing this little career that I call being a musician or entertainer for 22 years now. And I went to St. Joseph High School in Trumbull, Connecticut, which is actually where alumni and owner of Killarney Irish Pub, more on that story later, Mark Verespi, graduated, I believe, class of 1986. So you got a couple of fellow cadets here in the Ludlow, Vermont area, and Chester, more exact. That's when I started like playing in like jazz ensembles, band ensembles, music ministry, which is, I am Catholic, so that's a, like a choir and like band ensemble, if you will. I think it was actually called music ministry. But I stuck with it. I've always loved listening to mom and dad's music. My favorite guitar player still to this day, he was one when he passed away, is the late great Stevie Ray Vaughan. I remember when I was 3, I would have a cheap little orange plastic guitar standing right in front of the old TVs with VCR tapes just watching Stevie Ray Vaughan 1983, El Macambo, which is a great documentary if anybody ever gets a chance to watch it. But in high school, I remember outside of studying, doing my homework on time, or so I thought, my dad would always take me to the Beacon Theater in Manhattan to see the Allman Brothers Band. And this was after Dickie Betts got fired, but that's neither here nor there. So I embraced those family opportunities going with my dad into New York City. And Ben being a former Connecticut resident, I do enjoy coming back to the Vermont border every time also as well too. So yeah, it's chaotic in one way. But those experiences and also going to local shows with my mom and dad And up until I was 21, I had to go into the clubs with them because you had to be 21 or you had to have a legal guardian by your side. It really kind of helped me figure out what I wanted to do, go into college and even beyond. I think still to this day, I have always viewed myself as a performing musician who has played a lot by feel listening to records and really just collaborating with my fellow musicians around here and also back in my time in Connecticut, as opposed to just, reading a paper. It helped me in college with learning about jazz and classical music, but I never saw myself actually becoming a teacher in an administration form in school or whatever. I don't know. It's probably I don't have the patience, but that's just, that's another thing. And so I graduated from WestConn, which is in Danbury, Connecticut, in 2011 with a music performance degree in jazz studies. And I went immediately back to WestConn because I didn't want to be a teacher, but I wanted an additional field of study in small business management. So I'm kind of putting all those two together. And I went right back to school because if I took a semester off, I would not have the interest to going back to school. So I've been really hustling hard and not as much as I have lately with music in this day, but because I also worked for my family's business, Blanchette Sporting Goods, which connection to the Ludlow Rotary Club back in 2023 when the flood was going on. I remember it was, where's Jim? Jim's around here somewhere. Yeah, he left. Okay, anyways. He helped me with the money that my father and I raised with the business for Ludlow Strong t-shirts. So that's kind of like the connection I have with the Ludlow Rotary Club here. But I worked with my family's business for 20 years, God, since I was 9 years old. Yes, getting paid under the table because that's illegal in Connecticut to do. Collect the paycheck until you're 15 or 16. But taking out the trash, washing the windows, vacuuming the carpets. That's just what I did. My family was like, hey, get to work, kid. Have to. And I'm like, okay. There were cookies and sandwiches involved. So, I had to, there was incentives for sure. But I balanced a lot of that in between school and my music career. And I think that was like actually really helpful working with a small business and small family because it actually shaped how I treat what I do as a musician and like a local contributing member to the community with a lot of like the daily tasks and everything. But before I get to how I go about my day-to-day operations with work and everything, maybe some of you don't know the exact history of why I'm here, why I chose Okemo. And it being a 3-hour drive away from Fairfield County, Connecticut, it was always easy for my grandparents and my parents to come up on ski trips. So the property that I own up here in town was my grandparents since 1990. So it's been in the Blanchette family for 35 years, as long as I've been alive. So I've been coming up here in diapers. And so naturally I was exposed to either being a skier or a snowboarder. I think it's great to see a lot of the change that has been going on around here in the Okemo Valley community from as a former out-of-stater. Just see that a lot of things have like still stayed the same. There's a lot of opportunity in this community, and luck had it that I just fell in love with it post-college, wanted to come up here so much more, got tired of the Merritt Parkway and I-91 back and forth every single weekend, even in the summertime, and I just wanted to give it a shot, trying to make a working career up here. And so part of it is I knew what I was getting myself into because even like a few years before I moved up here, I started my music career playing shows in front of people and getting to network with a lot of people up here at the Killarney Irish Pub. Strangely enough, Mark Forespi is related to two of my best friends from Fairfield County, Connecticut, Chris Califas and Caitlin Califas. They're niece and cousin. I think that was what it would make it because it's father and daughter. And so we had a little power trio called CK3. It was the initials for Caitlin and Chris. Caitlin, who is a couple years younger than me, she, in my opinion, is the female version of John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. And that's their favorite band. That's Chris and Caitlin's favorite band is Led Zeppelin. And so we started coming up here, Chris was like, oh, my cousin owns an Irish bar up here. You got to come up here and play music. And my dad made all the decisions because I I was of legal driving age, but he's like, hey, we're going up to Grandma and Grandpa's condo for the weekend. I'm like, okay, cool, whee, skiing. And yeah, I started jamming up here 17 years ago when I was 18. So, and just tying all that back together, that's how I ultimately ended up here. I just really love the all come home feeling that Okemo has and that the Green Mountain State provides. And for those of you that have been here your whole life or longer than me, I am just eternally grateful for you guys giving me the opportunity every single day, month, week, year to try to fulfill a dream in arts and entertainment, and just be happy and smile and laugh away and just do this. It's really a lot of fun. Okay, like George, staying on track. So number 3 that I was going to talk about, I have it written as daily Sammy B tasks. Well, that's simply like all of us. We all have these things. They're a blessing and a curse, right? So we're like connected all the time. So Facebook, Instagram, emails, text messages, everything. That's all connected to people wanting our services. And so the life of an independent contractor and working for myself, every night or every morning you could like always stress out, oh, did I answer that? Did I like that comment? Did I do this and that? It's wild, but that's always part of the job. I don't really, other than Blanchette Sporting Goods, who does my merch and everything, I do not outsource anything. I do all my own graphic design works via Canva. I update my website. It's when I was in high school and college, I didn't know any of this was going to be a part of the game. I just played the guitar, scales, chords, just jammed around. I would sit in my room at my parents' house and just play for hours, listening to records, just staring out, looking at the birds and the bees, like just getting things going, like with spring and the flowers growing, just playing scales and everything. But yeah, this takes up a lot more of your time. It's like the website design and the content, because we're all connected. In the last 20 years, I always say pretty much since 9/11, our technology and the way that we know about doing life is so much faster and so much speedier than what it ever has been. And it's, for better or for worse, it's probably not changing or going away anytime soon. So we all have to be connected. So a lot of my day is being on the phone, doing all that. Has anybody ever noticed that we all have different ways of communicating, like certain things that we do that like work better, whether it's texting or calling? People go, oh, why don't you just call me? I'm like, well, you didn't tell me that. Okay, so sometimes communication can fall through the cracks. And yeah, so the best part, I think, of my job is actually the show. When you get there, but there's also the travel, the breakdown, and then, yeah, you know, like I mentioned before earlier, I'll just keep an eye on time here. There's always that nervous factor when you're playing. It's like, oh, you're playing at Killarney's or you're playing at Little Mexico, Off the Rails or 80 Brew. You play that all the time. What are you nervous about? Well, you know, the reality is people always want to hear new material. They want to hear new covers and everything. Am I going to be relevant forever? You know, these are the things that you always keep in mind as an artist, and that I think we all kind of keep in mind as we get older. And so that's always like the fun, stressful side of things. But, you know, if I'm jamming on my favorite Allman Brothers song, Grateful Dead, or even one of my originals, that's when I'm like, it's a Zen moment. It's comforting. And so, all right, number 4, speaking of that, anything on the horizon, original music releases, and also the Tasty Twist with Sammy B, my podcast. I lumped that all into like one segment and everything. So for those that are not connected and know how to find me, I have a ton of business cards here with a QR code on it that you can scan with your smartphone. And it goes to my website. My website, I still encourage, it sounds old school, but I encourage anybody young and old to go to my website. That is where I have links to my Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iTunes, however you stream the music. I got 15 originals, 2 EPs, which are much smaller versions of albums. And then I have an album that I've released in the last 5 years. Shout out to my buddy Vincent Freeman up in Randolph, Vermont. He's got a recording studio called The Underground, where a lot of people will go up and record or actually do like live streaming shows. It's really cool. My online store website is on here. I've got all my episodes of the Tasty Twist with Sammy B, 41 to be exact, that I did last year. Thank you to Rebecca from Okemo Valley TV for being here. And also, as I'm all over the map, I want to thank once again Ludlow Rotary Club for donating grant money and organizing grant money for Okemo Valley TV. One of the new things that's on the horizon, I'm a board member for Okemo Valley TV. We're going on the radio. By the end of the year, we have a radio station that's coming, WLUD. What's the number? Do we have a number yet, or not sure? Yeah, still WLAD. Okay, to be determined. Anyways, we will be going on the air, FM, and it's there. The building Okemo Valley TV is going through a lot of changes right now. We're building a podcasting station, which is also going to be a part of the radio station. So anybody that is interested in starting a radio program or a podcast, you can speak to me or speak to anybody. And but yes, so on my website, you can check out all my original music releases and the Tasty Twist with Sammy B episodes. As far as on the horizon, local shows, I'm always playing at Killarney's. I got a show coming up May 30th. William Rivas, who is actually a part of the Jackson Gore Okemo Friday Night Concert Series, my band, The Whatnots, is going to be one of the shows on August 1st. Bruce and Diana are here. I forget, it starts at the end of June, or is it July 4th weekend? It's end of June, right. So check out okemo.com. Also check out my website with my full list of shows. And I travel an hour or two all the time. So if a lot of people always say, that's too far, I understand, and I'm sorry. I try to stay as local as humanly possible. And also with music venues, and honestly, the future of live music in Vermont, arts and entertainment is so important in Vermont. And what I encourage all of us here as local community members, residents, or some are even like out-of-towners, any support that you give, not just myself, but like all the musicians, whether they're here in Ludlow, Killington, and all the places that host live music, we are all in this state about supporting local, supporting small businesses, and supporting live arts and entertainment. And even if you're just out for 5 minutes, if you're grabbing to-go food and whatever, not only is it great for us, maybe financially, but just emotionally, it makes a huge difference in the world, because it's a lot of effort that I see all these full-time, part-time musicians work. A lot of it really is a labor of love. And I did the math last year. I've gotten up to almost 300 paid music shows a year, which I never thought when I moved up here in Vermont I would be at that point. But a lot of it emotionally for us, and the venues, bars and restaurants and club halls, it's a labor of love. So I thank you guys very much for supporting us. So keep on going out and supporting the live arts and everything. Last but not least, and then I'll actually leave it up for anybody that might have questions and answers, who will be here after 1:30, which is just about coming soon. I put a little note on my sheet about advice to younger musicians, or like younger generations. I'm not really old, but I think I'm just old enough to start ranting and having like opinions on things in life. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. One of the most important things I've learned in being an artist and an entertainer is the ability to like smile and laugh. When I was younger, my mom and my dad, Pam and Steve, they really installed like old school manners, like holding the door open for somebody, saying like, hello, how are you? You know, like making that like initial eye contact. So even in like the world of like phones and technology that we have, a smile and like eye contact, and even like a simple compliment like, hey, that's a really cool shirt, or like, hey, nice green sunglasses you always wear on your head. That can really like uplift people in what can be a long and rather dark and crazy world that we live in, especially with the fact of how much information is thrown at us every single day. So I always try to encourage people to strike up a face-to-face conversation, even as we're buried in our phones and buried in whatever it is that we are doing. Again, Vermont being as small of a state as it is, and as tight of a community and network as this whole state is, I think we're all very blessed that even people that come here to get away from wherever they're going, wherever they are full time, we really truly come as a community. And I think we should embrace that, whether someone's from here or not from here. We're all in this crazy fishbowl called adulthood and day-to-day life every single day. And with that, with an open mind like that, it's it's opened up a lot of avenues for me in regards to getting more shows, getting more contacts, being involved with Okemo Valley TV, you know, which is also involved like the chamber mixers. Carol, thank you for everything that, you know, you do for our community. Bruce, Diane, you guys are fantastic bosses and leaders at Okemo. A lot of meeting those people is just simply showing up, whatever it is that you're doing. I've been skiing here for 30-something years. It's been a pleasure to call the Okemo Valley community home now. It used to be home away from home, and now it's home. And a lot of what I do as a musician, I think maybe why I've been currently successful to some degree has been showing up. Like most of us, I'm sure we have a lot of days, we have a lot of good moments and a lot of bad moments, whether it's personal or financial, anything. You know, but still just finding whatever it is, like a certain motivation to show up. Find something that truly you enjoy the most out of what you do for work. It could be music. It could be the chamber. It could be being an owner of a bar. It could be the general manager of a ski resort. You know, president of a Rotary Club. The list goes on and on. Everything that we do in life comes with human connection, human decency, a labor of love. And so any advice I can give to younger generations or anybody for that matter is just show up, be kind, always attack the day with a smile, good, bad, and indifferent. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it open for questions or answers for anybody who might have anything. So I appreciate you all for having me come here and speak a little bit. I could talk so much more, but I can keep it simple.
You did a great job.